Petrol was sold at the chemist in cans before anyone built a pump. In 1888, Bertha Benz drove one of her husband's machines from Mannheim to Pforzheim, about 100 kilometers, largely to prove it could be done. She ran low on fuel and bought it at a pharmacy in Wiesloch, where it was sold as Ligroin, a cleaning solvent. That was normal for the next 25 years. Petrol was a chemist's line, or a hardware shop's, sold in cans over a counter, poured into the tank through a funnel and a chamois to catch the dirt. The shop chose how much to sell you and what to charge. The first drive-in station is usually dated to the 1st of December, 1913, on Baum Boulevard in Pittsburgh, built by the Gulf Refining Company. A roofed building, set back from the road, with pumps under the canopy, open at night, with a paved area to pull off onto. On the first day, it sold about 30 gallons. It also gave away something with no obvious purpose, a printed road map of the county, free. That was deliberate. Selling fuel required people to have somewhere to go and confidence they could find it, and a map produces both. Free maps went on being handed out at petrol stations for the next 70 years, until the telephone in your pocket replaced them. The station is still the same shape it was in 1913. Set back, canopy, pumps in a row, a small shop with things by the door. Everything about it was designed around one problem. A car must be able to leave the road, stop, and rejoin without blocking anybody. The stop sign was made 8-sided, so it could be read from behind. The first stop signs went up in Detroit around 1915. Black square, white letters. There was no agreement about them at all. Signs varied by city, by state, in shape, color, and wording, and a driver crossing a state line met a new language. In the 1920s, American road officials sat down to make a system, and they made a decision that is unusual and clever. They ranked signs by the number of sides. More sides meant more danger. A round sign, the most sides of all, for a railway crossing, the worst thing you could meet. An octagon, 8 sides, for stop. A diamond for a warning. A rectangle for information. The reasoning was that a driver who could not read the words, or was too far away, or was looking at the back of the sign at night, could still know what it said from its outline. That is why a stop sign is the only 8-sided thing on the road. You can recognize it from the reverse, from a moving car, from 100 meters, in a country whose alphabet you cannot read. The color came later. Stop signs were yellow with black letters for 30 years, because red pigment faded badly, and there was no way to make red glow at night. When reflective sheeting solved that, the sign turned red in 1954. The shape is now in a treaty and is recognized almost everywhere on Earth. It began as a solution to a problem of literacy and distance, not of color. The word motel exists because the sign was too small. By the 1920s, Americans were driving long distances for pleasure, and the arrangements for sleeping were poor. A hotel was in the middle of a town, with a lobby, a porter, and nowhere for a car. The alternative was to pull off the road and camp, which many thousands of people did. Arthur Heinemann was an architect in Pasadena. His idea was a building shaped around the car rather than the guest, a courtyard, rooms opening straight onto it, a garage beside each door, no lobby, no porter, pay and go to your room. Drive up to the bed. It opened in San Luis Obispo in December 1925. He wanted to call it the Milestone Motor Hotel. The sign was not wide enough for the words. So he ran the two together and painted motelephone with a hyphen, and that is the first use of the word anywhere. The design was copied along every highway in the country, and the word entered the language so completely that it stopped feeling like an abbreviation. It is now in dictionaries in dozens of languages, including some spoken in places where nobody drives very far. The original building stood for about 60 years and was pulled down in 1991. The sign, though, is the ancestor of every motel sign there is, and it exists in that form for the least romantic reason on this list. A sign writer ran out of room,